everything in me wanted to say, this is not who we are.
Yeah.
But nothing can prepare you for sitting in a courtroom and watching them escort your child in chains.
Yeah.
You know, those images, just seeing him, I went 18 months without hugging my son. That broke me.
Yo, what's up, everybody? You listening to the What I Know Now podcast about life inside the juvenile justice system and what it's like to turn things around after. I'm Bilal and I've been through it.
And my name is Cole Williams. I am an advocate, a father, and I entered into the Juvenile Detention Center because my son was there. We're gonna sit down with young men and young women who've been through the juvenile justice system, just like Bilal. And we'll talk about how they got in, how they got out, and what they know now.
We're here to break down those walls, have some raw conversations, and hopefully change some lives along the way. Let's get into it.
So welcome back, everybody. I am so excited to introduce you to our next guest, Tiesha Hogue. She is a contract manager. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Contract manager, but most importantly, she is a mother. And so we are honored to have Tiesha in this space with us as she begins to tell her journey and her story. So welcome.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm okay. Good. I made it through the rain.
Hey.
Rain is my favorite type of weather.
Oh yeah, I forgot about you.
I love this. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my element right now.
I prayed for this rain because we've had weeks of a dry summer.
That's true.
You're
That's
welcome.
True.
Yeah, thank you.
So you brought this to us. All right.
Could you start by introducing yourself,
Yeah.
a little bit about what you do?
Yep.
And we would love to hear what FOIL means to you and how it came about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, my name is Tiesha Hogue. I am a lifelong resident of West Michigan. Me and my daughter live in Granville. I'm a contract manager for a medical school, a local medical school. And life has brought me to this organization that I started called FOIL, which stands for Families of Incarcerated Loved Ones. Currently, we aren't like a formal nonprofit, but we are having our very first in-person retreat in 2 weeks.
Nice, congrats.
It's a 4-day retreat in Detroit. So 10 mothers, we're coming together to fellowship. We're gonna squeeze in some fun and just be there for one another. A lot of these mothers have never talked about their experience supporting an adult incarcerated child. So I call FOIL the support for the support.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah. So what was your life like before your experience with incarceration? Can you tell us a little bit about how you found yourself in the juvenile justice system so just walk us through that a little bit.
So yeah, my son is actually in Michigan Department of Corrections, not the juvenile justice system. But pre-MDOC, I say that I did everything my grandparents told me to do. I went to college on a scholarship. I graduated. I got degrees. Got married. Got divorced. But, worked, bought a house, took my kids to Disneyland. We went on vacations. My son was a AU player. He had a full ride scholarship to Bethune-Cookman. We were on our way. I have a daughter. She's now 15, but we have a really good life. And COVID happened.
Yep.
And that happened at the end of my son's junior year. So this was the kid that slept with a basketball in his bed. He only went to school to be eligible to play basketball. So our family vacations were planned around AAU season. We would stay a couple extra days and just call it, he was the star of the family. And when COVID happened, he went from us traveling, playing basketball, to couldn't even go outside and go to the park and meet up with his friends. And that opened the door for other relationships. Because when young men can drive and their friends can drive, mom only has so much control. I say that was his hot boy summer. You can read between the lines.
Yeah.
And here we are.
So, do you think that, well, let me scratch that. When was your son sentenced and could you talk a little bit about that, like how that affected you and what that mean for you?
Oh my God. So they took him December 17th, 2020. He was not sentenced until February 2022. That was the worst day of my life, and I've buried my father, my grandfather. Like, that was the worst day of my life. There was nothing no one could have said to me to prepare me for that. I never had anyone. I've never been to a criminal sentencing. I've never been to a prison facility. So that really changed me. It caused emotional and psychological damage that I have to stay in therapy to continue to not blame myself. As moms, dads as well, we unfairly blame ourselves for a lot of decisions our children make. But that's something that I'm constantly working through.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard a family of a child whose child has been incarcerated expresses so eloquently, because I think there is this misperception around families who have children that are incarcerated.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I think people forget the part that you just described.
The human aspect of it. We often look at people's charges and, we looked at their appearance and we instantly judge them. We instantly say, oh, they failed and they did this. But yeah, that's my first time ever hearing somebody explain it, even with my own experience in the system. Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at the mother of the victim in that courtroom and I cried for her and I prayed. I would still pray for them. And it was like, I wanted to say, he wasn't raised like that. Like everything in me wanted to say, this is not who we are. Yeah. But kept my composure. Nothing can prepare you for sitting in a courtroom and watching them escort your child in chains. Yeah. Those images, just seeing him, I went 18 months without hugging my son. That broke me, so I'm constantly working on myself. And my daughter, her big brother, she was in the 4th grade. She went to school one day. He's been gone ever since. She's about to start. No, it was 5th grade because she's about to start the 10th grade. It's impact. I tell my kids, we are a team. What impacts one of us impacts all of us, and he's seeing that now.
Yeah. Tell us a little about who he is, and tell me about him.
TJ. Yeah. So he is, I could go on and on. He was definitely the comedian in the family. Very kind, caring, very funny. When I say typical, like, this is a kid that liked to be with his friends. He liked to play ball. And I would have to remind him to do his homework or make sure you clean your room or what is that smell in the basement? Just
all the stuff.
All the stuff. He had never gotten suspended from school before. And then we leap to now I have to figure out how I'm going to pay for a defense lawyer. So he, but I will say that God spared his life, and there are some mothers that are wearing their son's face on a T-shirt, and I thank God that that's not our story. So
yeah, Ty, you just said something else I think is important to maybe explore a little bit more. Is that oftentimes when we think about young men being involved in our juvenile justice system or criminal justice system, we think that they have prior history in these spaces. So I think just the fact that you're like, this was his first time, right? No touch points in the criminal justice system. Our family have no touch points in this system. And all of a sudden here we are thrust in it, right? Can you speak to a little bit about like what that must have been like? Just you as a mom, your whole family, first time. Did you feel like you had gotten any support in terms of how to understand and navigate these systems?
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
That, so my family's pretty close-knit. My mom has 3 kids. Our siblings, everybody, this is like my core family. So everyone, TJ is the oldest child. So he's everybody's kid. I'm the oldest sibling. So everyone's grieving in their own way. right? My mom, this is my grandbaby, my sister, my nephew, you know, and I feel like sometimes I would be having a good day and then one of them would call me because they were sad and it would restart me. So I had to find a community. So I started one myself because I literally didn't even know how to accept a call or put money on his books. And I couldn't go to my brother or my sister. Like, no one knew how to do that. And I wasn't ready to talk about it with other people, you know. So I'm like, I need to talk to some people that have walked this journey and won't judge me, and I won't feel a sense of embarrassment. It was a lot, like, down, what do I wear when I go visit him? You know, can I bring my daughter? What is that process going to be like for her? So that is, I remember I talked to my first lady about what I was thinking, and I sat on it for months. And one day I just started a clubhouse room. And it was the first Mother's Day that the second Mother's Day that I didn't have him with me. I just started a clubhouse room and I've been going from there.
Yeah, I think just hearing you speak about your experience, one thing I think about people who have experienced, whether it's they experience it themselves or they have families that have, you know, or they have family who have experienced the system in general, it's like a disconnect from people who have nowhere near that world. You know, with the people who have no experience, they have certain views and certain things like that. And the people with experience often think that we're being judged by these people. And I think the major disconnect goes where people kind of throw out common sense out the window. You know, as me being so close to teenagers' age and, you know, being close to that age where I was almost there. Like I'm so close in proximity to that age where I was, and those kids who do things, you know, without thinking. But to somebody like Cole, doing something without thinking would be like foreign. He's like, I'm thinking before I do something. At your age, with your experience, with your wisdom, you would never do something without thinking. But I still might at 20 years old. You know, I still might, man, let me buy this Reese's. You know what I'm saying? Knowing I don't really want the Reese's, I'm just going to buy it. Impulsive. And I think a major disconnect comes down to the simplest things where we don't even have to complex it. You know, it don't have to be a crazy concept to understand.
Well, you said something I think we missed too. You said COVID created a space for your son where he felt hopeless.
Absolutely.
You know, we don't even talk about that hopelessness that from the experience of COVID. And so for me, I'm like, my God, there were a lot of kids that got impacted by this in a way that I think we're still healing from that, right? And I think you used something else that I hadn't really thought about, but I think it's important to point out. You talked about not only your grief and loss of the presence of your son, but your entire family's grief and loss of him. And I think that also goes missing in the conversation when we talk about families, because we tend to talk about the person and the victim and then the law. We never, it's really rare that there's a huge conversation about the trickle-down effect and how everyone is impacted in some major way, right? And so here you are with this experience, not knowing the language, not knowing the customs, not knowing the style, not knowing any of the processes that many of us who've had children involved in the system very early on had to learn on our own too. So you said, I'm going to start this clubhouse. I'm going to create this experience. What did you think it was going to be? Was it just you were looking for a community, and was it easy to find other mothers that you could walk alongside? Can you walk us through what that journey was like for you?
That's a great question. It was definitely, I mean, it may sound selfish, but it was because I needed a space. And as much as I love my family, they didn't understand how I was feeling as his mother. So, and you keep re-triggering me every time you call, you know, crying. I could be having a good day. So the more I would talk to one mother, and then she would say, well, I know someone. And it just kind of, word just started to spread. And a lot of people that joined the clubhouse room, they're from all over. People called from Houston, Florida. Most people that join the room, I don't know who they are, but the name of the room, I don't know if you've been on Clubhouse before. You just see the title and you join. I've had former, those who've been formerly incarcerated join and give that perspective. Yeah. And it's like, thank you for joining, tonight. And it's been a relief in a sense, because I always say you are not alone. Dismantling the isolation that's like rooted in embarrassment, guilt, and shame. That's really where the devil starts playing with your mind and you get depressed. And just remembering, like, I'm grieving a chapter that I thought it was set for him. Like, this is what we're doing next. Yeah. That's not happening no more. There was no plan B, So, and if it was, it wasn't going to be this. Yeah. So and having mothers like me, these mothers that are educated, working, some of them put in 30 years in school districts and retired, and they're here. So it's been a relief, but it's been eye-opening as well. Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember this lady dialed in, and she has 2 brothers. They're never getting out. My son has an out date. I have to find the blessing in that. Yeah. So it's, to your point, like, these are 2 different worlds. People that have been exposed to a system, people that have zero exposure. It's opened my eyes to a lot of the social problems that people are trying to just navigate while they wait for their loved one to come home.
Yeah. Can you speak to what some of the conversations you have heard from mothers as you have built Foil?
It goes all over the place. Like I said, as simple as, what is a secure pack and how do I, and that varies from state to state. As, I've talked to a mother who've had to call, her son is incarcerated for molesting her granddaughter. That's still her child, though. She can't talk to her other children about that. It's been so eye-opening, because, to your point, we don't think about the family. These people get paroled home. Yeah. And if the family doesn't work, I say this is PTSD for me. And if I don't work through that, what type of support am I going to be for him to help him get on his feet? So if he serves his entire sentence, he'll be 26, 27 by the time he comes home. He can still build a life. He can. But if I'm fragile, broken, and barely hanging on, that's not going to help him. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What you thinking?
I'm thinking, how do you think Foil is viewed by the people who don't have any experience? What do you think they think if you were to explain Foil, or if you were just to give a basic description of Foil, what do you think the people without experience would think?
That's a great question. I've never thought about it. I don't share. This isn't like I have shared with none of my coworkers that I start, because if I'm led into that conversation with someone, then let's go there. Yep. But if the spirit doesn't lead me, if we not talk, this is what we talking about, okay. But I really have not thought about that. What would you, you hearing about it for the first time.
I think when I hear it, man, I think everybody who's systemically impacted should sit in on these conversations. I think everybody, especially parents, men or dad, fathers, and mothers. I think, like, man, maybe even the support that I could have had when I was going through what I was going through, if my parents somehow could have got that trauma, because I would have PTSD, and me being incarcerated gave me PTSD, but it also gave them PTSD.
Exactly.
Them hearing certain things in the courtroom and certain labels and things that was put onto me. And not only that, but you got the outside opinion of what you hear in the street, or what you may hear from a friend or a family member. So I think it's definitely necessary, and I think it's a conversation that should be implemented everywhere. I think everybody systemally impacted should be sitting in on these conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was one of the most amazing things I had heard, being a lived experience father of a child incarcerated right now. My son is 28. He's in a state prison here through MDOC. And it took me a while to process the fact that I didn't know when he was coming home. I had shown up to the parole board to speak on his behalf. I've just been remembering like these experiences of like always on edge when he does call, because I'm not sure what he's going to tell me. Or when I don't hear from him for a long period of time, is he in isolation? Like what's happening? Or even to the fact I was like, okay, I need to build a budget out specifically for him.
Yeah.
You know, that was something that I didn't even feel comfortable sharing with everybody, because what I've heard people say is that, why are you paying for your son and all the things that he's caused? But I was like, this still is my son. And I don't want him putting himself in any position that would cause him additional harm, or he get a ticket that would add to more time. And then now, before you know it, he's supposed to serve 2 years. Now he's in there for 5-10 years, right? Because what we don't talk about is how our babies get lost in these systems.
Yes.
You know? And so I just think back to myself. It was a recent conversation I was having. I'm like, what happens to fathers that have children that are incarcerated, right? Because one of the things I said is that I've been in courtrooms, I've visited my sons before, and I look around and I see nothing but a sea of mothers.
Wow.
And there was no representation for me as a father to like really understand like what is it like as a dad having a child that's incarcerated. But what I started to notice is the disproportionality of Black and brown men that were incarcerated.
Yeah.
So here I am, a father on the opposite side of the window, where I'm seeing mainly boys and mothers and daughters visiting fathers. And so part of me has been asking the question, I'm like, where are men in these spaces beyond the fact that many of our men are incarcerated? And what's the flip side of that? So when I heard what you've been doing, I was like, wow, that would have been amazing for me as a father to at least be in a space to get past gender, but to share the spirit of what it is like as a parent, to really have a child in our system and recognize that although he's 28, he's still my son.
Absolutely.
You know, he's still my son. Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest learning lesson for you?
That's a big question.
A big question.
That's a big question.
I still am grateful that my son has an out date and that he's coming home, because that is not every family story. And I felt like nothing could be worse than this, you know. I mean, those were real feelings. I was stuck for months. But if I've talked to moms who have never talked to anyone and their son has done multiple bids, and I'm like, where do you tell people? He took a job down south. He took a job out west. And I'm like, but what are you doing for yourself to process all of this? You know, if I can just talk to one person and let them cry it out, it's rewarding, but you know, it does get heavy. It's a lot of, it's emotional work, because then now I'm praying for all these kids I don't know and praying for their mom, but it is a sense of community. And I realize that no matter what your trauma is, it's helpful to fellowship with people that's on that same path.
Yeah. Do you talk about his case at all? I know for my son, it took me I still don't. There are places I still don't share what he was charged with, because I'm afraid of all of the things that I know people will say about his charge.
Yeah.
And how it will. You don't know, do you?
No, I know.
Do you know?
Yeah, I know. Okay. But no, I'm saying that's interesting, because even when I go and I sit in these rooms and I talk about my experience, or I go on and I speak or something like that, I get nervous about saying what I was charged with. I get, and I feel like I analyze everybody's face. Yep. I do it too. After I said, you know, it's crazy that you said that too, because I just I got an Army recruit called me like 2 weeks ago, and this is like totally off topic, but it just reminded me. An Army recruit called me 2 weeks ago, and they said, "Is this what I said?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh, we from the Army?" I'm like, Army.
Right.
I ain't signed up for no Army.
Right.
They said, we got your information. Would you be interested? Well, then he started telling me how much they get paid. I said, hold on now.
Right. Maybe.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on. Keep going. I said, keep going.
Right.
She got to explain it to me, and she was like, do you have any like things holding you back? I'm like, well, I am on probation. Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, well, you have to wait to get on probation. And she's like, what are you on your probation for? I paused for a minute when she asked me. And then I told her, she's like, oh.
See?
Yeah.
Senior information. We had to go through it. I was like, yeah, never mind. And I just hung up. But it was interesting. You in the Army. Yeah. So like you didn't seen a lot, heard a lot. So it's interesting that we, kind of get nervous about talking about charges and things like that. Yeah,
but in the room, I lead with that because I want people to, I got his permission. Like he knows, the work that I'm trying to do, and because that was important to me. But he's an adult, so But I lead with that just to set the tone. I lead with my journey, my story, and then people just start asking questions, or they open up about their story from there. So.
Hey everyone, it's Nick Williams here with this week's Delta Project News Break. Let's dive in. First up, exciting updates from our home base. Our podcast recording space is officially complete. That means opening it up to the community. If you or someone you know is looking for a fully equipped professional recording space in Grand Rapids, Michigan, we got you. Reach out to us at info@thedeltaproject.co to learn more about the availability and rental rates. Let's make your voice heard. Next, a major legal milestone in Michigan last week, the Michigan Supreme Court handed down a landmark decision. Mandatory life without parole. Sentences for people who were 19 or 20 at the time of their offense had been ruled unconstitutional. Combined with previous ruling for 18-year-olds, this opened the door for over 800 people to be resentenced. Shout out to the defenders and advocates pushing this forward. And finally, our Boys to Mentor program is expanding. Thanks for your continued support. We're growing our impact and reaching more young men who are system impacted or at risk. Stay tuned for updates and opportunities to get involved. And if you haven't yet, sign up for our newsletter at thedeltaproject.co to be the first to know what's coming up next. That's it for today's news break. As always, thank you for rocking with us.
Yeah.
How do you think mothers that you work with challenge the stereotypes of the youth that may be system impacted coming from a bad home?
I mean, that was very important to me to find moms like me. And I say, again, we're talking educated moms, homeowners, a lot of them are married, because there's this welfare mother image that people want to believe all the people incarcerated come from this broken home, and it's not the truth. There's no magic. I grew up in the projects. I probably should have, people probably wrote me off when I was a kid that would have been my story. My son grew up in the suburbs, and yet and still here we are, So there's a lot of stereotypes, and I think that's another reason why people don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I think you blow that stereotype up when you use words like "my son felt hopeless." Like, hopelessness it crosses gender, culture, all of those things, social, economic, all of that. But when a person feels hopeless and they don't feel like they have anything else, they start to experiment with all of these other things, right? Although he did not think this was going to be his outcome, hopelessness creates pathways for that.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I think for me, hearing that is just a gentle reminder for folks that this is, every day we're having human experiences, and that all it does is we all can be impacted in some way.
Literally. It could be any of us.
Yes.
Literally. Anybody could.
It was a scary time. Y'all remember, we didn't know what was going to happen day by day, and then you have these adolescents that they don't know.
Got so much time.
Yeah.
So much free time.
They don't know what's happening.
I mean, you remember when you would go to the grocery store and stuff was like not on the shelves anymore? I'm like, there's no bread. People taking tissue and paper towels. I'm stocking up on canned goods. I'm like, oh, I got to get a gun. Like, it was just
Yes.
right. I'm
It was nuts.
I don't know what's happening. Just doing stuff.
It was nuts.
It was crazy.
And the crazy part about it was when COVID started, I was incarcerated when COVID started.
I remember.
So I watched it all in play, and I got like integrated back into the free world like after everything's been shut down.
Okay.
So at this point, when I'm coming into the world, it ain't no toilet paper in Walmart. Like literally, it's
Right, it's gone.
It's gone. Nobody got no toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? You can't go to the store.
That was a
no
serious
barbershop.
matter.
It was serious.
No barbershop. Listen, I was depressed. I ain't had no haircut for about 5-6 months. You know what I'm saying? I'm in this joint looking crazy. So it was definitely a time, and I had so much free time on my hands to the point where I don't think I could focus on myself or focus on anything that I truly wanted to do, because it was just so much time. It was too much time, and it was foreign, especially around the time when I know I should be in school at this time. You know, that was foreign. I'm 16. I'm supposed to be in school. I don't got no school. I don't got no response. Nothing. All I got is time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What you said is COVID stole his dreams.
Well, not knowing how to process it.
Yeah.
I mean, a young man,
Yeah.
this is probably the hardest thing he's ever been through. Like, what? I'm not gonna have my scholarship. What's the point?
Yeah.
This is all I wanted to do was play college basketball.
Yeah.
So I might as well go right around with what's the name, and then whatever they getting into, he getting into.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just was havoc from there.
What do you want people to take away from what you are creating? What do you want people to know? Why is this so important?
This system, it impacts everyone, not just the people that are behind bars. It impacts everyone. And there's a lot of mental health that is just not being addressed. Like, my son has a prison counselor who's more like an administrative assistant. And it's so important that these families, the support system that's waiting, that you take care of yourself. I feel like in the Black community, we, growing up, we normalize like it ain't nobody business. He away to college, those silly things that we just made a part of our culture. But what good did it do?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's people that can identify with your journey. It is embarrassing, it's shameful, but don't be stuck there. Don't get stuck there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really powerful that you are connecting this to mental health, especially when we think about the Black community. I think about the movie Soul Food and the uncle with the television. They had him stored in a space because he suffered from mental health issues too. But we kind of put our mental health families that are struggling, our loved ones, in this space, and we just kind of
isolate.
Isolate. We don't talk about them, or we use these terms or terminologies to describe them. And I don't even think I have heard the outcome of like how children have been impacted from COVID with mental health, right?
Yeah.
I think that's something that I think we're still unpacking too. But you put a face to that. You put a name to that I think is really important as well. When I'm thinking about this. So it also makes me wonder too about what is the role of the community when you think about mothers and our sons. What support does the community play in that, and how can we show up as a community member to mothers and families?
Yeah, I mean, because these men and women are coming home.
Yeah.
They're going to need places to live. They're going to need places to work. And some of these policies at these companies and some of these housing policies might need to get challenged after someone serves their time. What kind of community do we have available for them to thrive? We don't want them to go back. That's the purpose, right? Yeah. But if we don't have many options for them, what do you think is going to happen? We got to rebuild and reconsider, how we can help shape them, So. It's a large conversation.
Yeah, I agree. What does healing fit in all of this? Because people say rehabilitation all the time. I hear that everywhere I go when we talk about juvenile justice, criminal justice. How does the word healing fit into FOIL and what your mission and vision is for the...
Well, I am not a licensed therapist.
Yeah. No.
But I really urge everyone that I come in contact with to find a therapist. I mean, whether you do it or not, I mean, at least go on a walk, journal, do something to process, like get it out is the point of it. Get it out, whatever you're feeling. And I don't think the system rehabilitates. I think it causes more trauma, honestly. God knows TJ probably shares 5% of what he's experienced with me, because I probably wouldn't sleep at night if he gave me a play-by-play of everything he's dealing with. But I just really urge, mental health awareness and to put your mental health first. And I wish there was actual mental health tools for in the prisons. They need it, TJ tells me right now there's a K2 issue at the facility he is at. So people are dying, people are overdosing. How do you think that's getting in there? It's so many things going on. He's like, Mom, I have access to anything I want in here except sex with a woman. It's a lot.
It's a world in the world.
And then those people are coming home. So how are we going to help them navigate this out here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just a large conversation.
It is. I think it's real heavy because, it's the same in the adult space is the same as the juvenile space, literally. I think a lot of people don't realize that when you send these kids off the placements, what they see, what they experience. It's crazy. I done seen a lot in just placement facilities and residential facilities and even juvenile, local facilities. I've seen so much that in the juvenile justice system is designed to rehabilitate a little more than the adult system. You get pampered a little more, you get a lot more care for sure, but at the same time, eventually you just want to get by. And I think that's a lot with jail and prison. You just want to finish your time. You just want to get by. And what is we truly doing to help people mentally, emotionally, reintegrate into the community? What tools are we giving these people?
Yeah.
Without tools, and then you going back to the same place what can you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's why village and community is so important. I think the work that you're doing is so necessary, simply because of that. We have young men and women who are returning home. Where are they returning home to? Who are they returning home to? Are parents equipped to support their sons and daughters when they return home?
Yeah.
If their son has a charge that prevents him from being in certain locations and places, right? How does a parent find a way to support that child? Is it a shelter?
Right.
Shelters can be sometimes just as harmful as the places they just came from.
Yeah.
Right. And so, these are very big, complex challenges, but we need to be having these conversations because who are we talking about? We're talking about humans.
Yes.
And I think we're really good at fixing things mechanically. We can have those kind of conversations, but when we talk about human support, it just seems to be something that, that's not my thing. That's not my mission.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys can figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you thinking? Because I look at you and I'm listening, and you're a son, and I'm just curious about what's this whole conversation doing? I've been co-facilitating with you, so I could see the shift in how this is. So I would be,
I think it just make me more just think retrospectively. It just kind of make me go over a lot of my experiences. I think just hearing you speak, how you speak about your son, and things like that. It definitely makes me go back over my experience and kind of like dig into my bag a little bit.
Yeah. Trigger warning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit. But I think it just kind of make me think a lot retrospectively about my experiences. Kind of just go through my files and just think like a lot. Just the support that your son had from you is amazing. That's for one. Yeah, not a lot of people have that. So that's a blessing. Like,
thank you.
God bless you for sure. Yeah. That's something I wish I had, was support from my family. I think from the most for sure.
Yeah, I think people forget people that are incarcerated who find themselves they out of sight, out of mind. When you come back, we're gonna love you. But while you're gone, we're gonna continue to kind of do our own thing.
Yeah, I had one of my aunts told me, and this is the stuff you got to deal with. This is why you don't talk to people. Well, if my son did that, I would never go visit him. And I said, well, that's still my son. If he lived in China, this prison is where he lived right now. If he lived in China, I would be trying to figure out how to, maybe I can't make it there that often, but this is where he lived and I want him to be okay. Yeah. You know, I have to put eyes on him.
Wow. Yeah.
And maybe for others, it's not a mom. Maybe it's a cousin or an aunt or a neighbor, but they need support. And so funny, he started like asking his friends and, Mom, will you write such and such? Because they don't have nobody. I don't want to do that. But he's just a kind person. Like, he's like, Mom, some people don't get no mail. They don't get no packages. They don't, like you said, it's a forgotten population. Like, you did the crime, see you when you get out. Yeah. That's so cruel. Yeah. And what type of person is breeding in that loneliness, you know?
You just made me think about something I hadn't thought about. But why don't we do that? Why aren't we finding ways to write to people who don't receive any messages?
I can only speak for myself.
Yeah. Because I'm just thinking about, is that I say that because I'm like, is that something that a community can do? Because here's often what I hear.
It is.
This stuff is so big, Cole, but what can I do? And I'm like, well, maybe you can do this, this, and this. But if we recognize just from here and you say, hey, here's something my son is saying. There are men in these spaces that no one communicates with. Mm-hmm. And if we talk about hopefulness, how do we create an opportunity for hope? Maybe it's we write, we encourage, we provide, you know. So I just wonder for those who will be watching this because you're going to get folks that are going to watch this, they're going to want to be inspired and are going to want to do something. I just wonder, is there some space between us, the Delta Project, and what you're doing? Maybe and this is just me spitballing, creatively find a way to make those connections.
Yeah. So for me, I was open to it until I learned that I can't send mail to any MDOC facility using my P.O. box. I don't want to use my personal home address.
Makes sense.
Because I don't know these individuals and I don't know when they're getting out for safety reasons.
Absolutely.
If I could have used my P.O. box, I'd probably be writing somebody every day. Just keep your head up, son, you know, just very general because I don't know them. But TJ feels like, Mom, you need to, you know, such and such. Can I give them your phone number? Can you send them a JPay? I'm like, calm down. Calm down.
Safety first, right?
And he gets frustrated with me. He's not buying that excuse. Yeah. And we've bumped heads. I'm like, you don't have to understand it. Your mom is a single woman living in a house. If somebody showed up at my front door and I have to think like that. So he'll get over it. But if there was someone who's willing and, you know, willing to use their home address, you know, that's really the only barrier.
Yeah. So it just makes me think creatively, like maybe, because we want to protect people, but is there an address that could be used?
Or a business address.
Or a business address that would allow that. And it also makes me wonder too, if TJ's passion for that, I wonder, will that be something that will spark something in him to want to create too, from his lived experience. So I'm just curious. You know, when will he be returning home?
I always say on paper it says December 2029, but I'm trusting God it will be sooner.
Sooner. Okay. I think as I'm processing things I haven't processed through listening to you today, I don't think I've been in a space where I've actually had another parent that has a child that's incarcerated that I hear love being used. I think there's so much shame that comes with you even having a child incarcerated that you just don't say anything, right? Especially if my Hallmark version of what I wanted my son to be, he currently isn't.
Yeah.
And so I just, as I'm listening to you talk, I'm thinking to myself, man, I had this vision for what my son was gonna be. He graduated from high school. I had hoped that he would pursue something in the trade. I mean, he's funny, he's athletic, and it didn't happen. And so now it's like, I don't even want to talk about him.
Absolutely.
I don't want to talk about him because if somebody asks me about him, then how do I say to them, oh, he's incarcerated? And I dread the day they say, well, what's he incarcerated for?
Yes.
Right? So I'm like, I don't want to bring it up too much. So I'll just but sitting here with you right now, I'm like, damn, I haven't really even thought about this stuff yet. I just kind of put it away. And he's come home, been paroled home, and then went back.
Okay.
And so it's like, I can't talk about him.
Absolutely.
Talk about him. So
I find myself at dinner, work dinners or lunches, and everybody's going around the table talking about all the wonderful things their kid is doing. And when it's my turn, I'm like, we're just working some stuff out.
Yeah.
Because I am not going there.
Yeah.
It's not the space. And you don't want the judgment. You don't want the follow-up. Okay, what is he at? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how are you doing?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna double back and just say it make me kind of go through, memories and my experiences. I think as I think back, through my experiences, always been, negative connotations to how parents speak on their kids, especially with my own experience. I was always, the kid who would never get it right, just expecting the worst. But
from your parent, from
my parents and my experience, and even the parents from friends or anybody that I was involved with, I never heard nobody speak on their child how you spoke on your son, ever. Even now, that may be my first time actually hearing that. And as I hear you speak about your son and I speak about your experience, it make me think to unpack. And even though I have been I've been through the system for so long, and I've been in and out, and I learned so much that I usually sit still to consider my actions and reconsider my actions, and think before I do something and unpack things. But I feel like as I integrated into the real world, me trying to take everything that I learned there and just simply apply it to my life in the free world isn't just that simple.
Right.
I slip up often, and I feel like if I don't have a pattern, I lose it. And I feel like for the past couple months, I may have lost the pattern to unpack certain things. So as I hear you speak about it, it just made me sit here and even during the podcast, maybe y'all may notice or may see me just get quiet and I get to staring off.
Yeah.
I just got to unpacking immediately because it's amazing to me how you unpacked your feeling. Because you can feel how you feel and you can know how you feel, but never do anything about it. Never even take the initiative to see why you feel like that or even try to heal it. So I think unpacking, and I think I'm still unpacking as I'm speaking. So, it's kind of everywhere, but
Let me
go ahead.
But it took a long time for me to be able to even talk about this without breaking down, crying. I was furious with my son. It felt like a betrayal because I gave you a good life. And how could you do this to me? I personalized everything. And how could you bring this shame on our family? And your sister lost her big brother. And that's why I need to go to therapy because I am his mother, but this is his journey. This is his cross to bear. And it took a long time for me to separate the two. I'm like I said in the beginning, I'm working on this thing every day. I still pull in my driveway and sit in my car and think, this is my life. I'm not moving my son in a college dorm.
Yeah.
I'm picking my daughter from school and we hopping on the highway to go to a correctional facility. That is, I would have bet everything 10 years ago, if you would have said, in 2025, Tiesha, you're crazy. What are you talking about? That's not me. So thank you for, what you said in terms of how I talk about TJ, but that took a while because I was very angry for a very long time. And through the strength of God and therapy, it's getting better, but I still have work to do.
I thank you for saying that because you also just humanized the experience for parents too, because there is this connection that we tie with our children and their futures. And we do, I give you all of this and this should be your outcome. But I think you're 100% right. Our children are their own individual selves. Yeah. Their choices aren't ours.
Yeah.
And I think, Bilal, in those visitation spaces where you were sitting in and you were hearing these side conversations from mothers and fathers and grandparents who were visiting their children in detention, some of that, I think that anger in that space was just like what you just described. Yeah. It's like, I cannot believe we back at this again. I cannot believe you made this choice. I cannot believe you impacted our family this way, right? Mm-hmm. And so I remember like, I'm not putting no money on no damn books. Mm-hmm. I'm not calling you. Mm-hmm. I'm not coming to visit you. I'm not doing none of that. You did this, right? Yeah. And I'm so angry because of the version that I had of what I thought my son's experience in his life would be based on what I gave him. And that wasn't mine to own.
Exactly.
And I think because both of y'all is affected by that.
Yeah.
Like in return, like I could speak on to how I felt not getting no calls, no visits, no money on my books.
Yeah. Talk about that. What is
Absolutely.
that? Talk about that because there's somebody that's gonna watch this and say, I'm still not going because I'm angry. But what is the impact of that anger on a person from what you experienced?
I think feelings and emotion is more than just feeling emotion. It's like your surrounding area. I feel like I oftentimes find myself like, if my room not clean, I can't think straight.
Yeah.
Like my bed got to be made, my room got to be clean. If the bed not made, it at least got to be clean for me to think straight.
Yeah.
And I think when at 17 years old, when I walked into that county jail, and I just seen my surroundings, I felt heavy. You feel me? Yeah, I felt it. So I think apart from like nobody from the outside world know how I'm feeling. They know I'm in here, but they can't connect that feeling to me being locked up. They just know I'm locked up. You did what you did and you there.
Yeah.
You know? But like walking into that space, seeing it, and only getting an hour out your cell.
That's inhumane.
No call. I got no call, no money on my books. And hygiene-wise, I got like a 4-inch toothbrush.
Yeah.
4-inch toothbrush. I didn't even give me toothpaste on my toothbrush. 4-inch toothbrush, a little bit of deodorant, but it was a roll-on. So my hygiene was off. I could smell myself. I was sweating in my sleep. I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I was either too cold or too hot. Like it was just unsanitary for sure.
Yeah.
No matter how much you clean it, it was unsanitary. And just not me not getting no mail, no calls, and not having no money on my books. It just I didn't feel loved. It got to a point where it's like I gave up on myself. Like I remember me with my probation officer. She told me I looked like I was 20 years older.
Wow.
She told me I looked like I was pushing 30. Yeah. I was 17 at the time.
I remember.
Wow.
You know, so I feel like it's heavy. Like when it goes both ends. And like at the end of the day, we all got feelings and we all got emotions and we all feel a certain type of way. So, man, yeah. I know it's heavy on the parents' end too, so I don't even want to discredit that. But at the same time, like I hope we both understand that it's no comparison.
Yeah,
everybody feeling. It's no comparison to pain, just like it's no comparison to trauma.
Absolutely.
Everybody got their own, you know what I'm saying, going on. So
I think what you're describing too, that I hope our audience learns and listens to, is that our love shouldn't be conditional.
Yes.
Because when my love is conditional, then I'll abstract things from you. I love you, but because you've done this to me, I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to do the things that I do when I love you. But when my love is unconditional, that despite the behavior, I am still going to show up in spaces that show you that I care for you, that I love you. And I think that oftentimes and not in our society, I think is baked into that, is that when someone does something that causes us harm, then we also cause harm in that way too. We abstract, we remove, and it becomes about these conditions. And I often wonder, how do we move in a space where love is about caring, it is about being curious, it is about helping people feel like they belong, and the basic needs of being a human isn't taken away from you because I'm mad at you.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's the shift I think our society has to do. It's just because you've done something and I'm mad at you doesn't mean that I have to stop being your brother. Doesn't mean I have to stop being your father and your mother or your son.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that description.
Yeah.
I always just sit and listen when people are willing to share what that was like.
Yeah.
Because I always say, as bad as I'm hurting, it's nothing compared to what he's living this day to day.
Yeah. And thank you too, Bilal, because I know sometimes we sit in these spaces and I felt it. I'm like, oh, this is different. So I was trying to hold space for yours while I'm like, oh shoot, I'm feeling something too. I don't know what to do with this. But I also think that you bring in a love, a mother's. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah. I walked in the room and I was like,
yeah,
for sure. Like it's a little different.
That's what it is. Yeah. You have it's a mother's love.
Thank you.
That's exactly what it is.
Wow.
You've sat in this space with us and helped us feel and see and illustrated what a true mother's love looks like for her children.
100%. This wasn't a podcast.
No.
Like you took this over. Like the space. Like it felt different walking into the room today for sure. 100%. And
I know it was a mother's love, especially if you've been a son and absent to that kind of love, because you get drawn into it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it'll hit a little bit harder.
Yeah, I already look.
It hit a little bit harder for me. We could go on.
Yeah, we could, but I felt that. That's what it is.
For sure.
That's what it is.
For sure.
Well, praise God for that. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank
Very
you.
kind.
Thank you. If a mother watches this, how does she reach you?
You can find me on social media, Tiesha Hogue. My name is my name. On Instagram and Facebook, and foil@gmail.com.
Okay. Can you spell your name for us?
Yep. Tiesha, last name Hogue.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And are you open to the extension of other folks participating? So
Fathers,
as a dad.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I've had siblings, wives.
Okay.
It's families of incarcerated loved ones, but I, for whatever reason, mothers feel more comfortable, talking to me.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Check out our programs on the Delta Project's website, thedeltaproject.co, and be sure to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.